Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kate and I'm on a weight loss journey. I have lost 90 pounds on my own through diet and exercise, but I am in the starting process. Well, not really starting process. I guess we're coming to the end of the process of my weight loss surgery journey. So today I'm going to talk about how that's been going, and I have a little surprise update for you guys.
I was facing all the sunlight while our feet swung freely from the bridge.
Okay, so the last time we talked, I had just had the initial meeting with like the nurse, the dietitian, and the therapist that they have on staff at the bariatric center. So after that appointment, I made an appointment for like a week and a half later to actually meet with a surgeon. So that appointment went really well. The office was a lot more packed that day, so it kind of made me a little more anxious for some reason, because with that first appointment, I was the only one in there because I guess I had the first appointment of the day. So this appointment, it made me a little more anxious. I was really nervous to meet him. So I got into the room where I was gonna meet him. They did like my weight and the regular like blood pressure check, all that stuff first. And then they took me into the room where I would meet him. I had to wait about 30 minutes. It was a while. I was like posting to my stories. I'll probably insert some clips that I posted while I was waiting. I could also hear I could hear like the doctor's conversation with a patient through the wall. So like that made me nervous too. I'm like, I could hear their whole conversation. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. Like I don't like that the person in the next room can hear everything I'm saying. So I feel like they should probably put a little distance between their patients, maybe. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, so he got in there. He just talked to me about basic things that he saw on my chart. He asked to look at my stomach. He showed me a little weight loss chart, like how much I would expect to lose. He answered some of the questions that I had because I do have a history with like reflux. I asked him which surgery would be best for me because at that point I still hadn't decided if I was gonna do VSG or gastric bypass. So after that appointment, he really thought that the VSG would be the best choice for me, even if I did have some reflux issues. He said that when they did the endoscopy, they would check for a hiatal hernia, which they did that. So after that appointment, or after I met with him, I went into the scheduling office and she's the one that scheduled my endoscopy. And I had to have a COVID test before my endoscopy. The COVID test was scheduled like 3 days before the endoscopy. So I had my COVID test on a Friday and then my endoscopy was on a Tuesday. The COVID test was fine. It's my second time getting a COVID test because I was exposed like way back in like August, I think. But I didn't have COVID, and obviously my test results were fine with the COVID test. So I had my endoscopy on Tuesday. My husband went with me. I had to have someone go with me. I had to have someone be able to drive me home, basically. So he went upstairs with me. I wasn't sure if he was gonna be able to go upstairs with me, but he was. So he went into the office with me and was like in the waiting room when I got my like hospital wristbands and everything. The only time I did have to leave him at one point. They told me I'd get to see him again, but I guess things kind of went so quickly that I didn't actually get a chance to see him again. So I said bye to him in the waiting room. They took me back to what looked like, if you've ever been to like an ER, like it just looked like an ER waiting room. Like there was a hospital bed, a computer. I'll insert some video footage of what the room looked like. I'm pretty sure I took some. So I talked to the nurse, had to answer like a million questions about just medical history stuff. And I also talked to the anesthesiologist. She did ask me if I was breastfeeding just because there were like some additional, or there was a medication that she said could potentially dry up my supply a little bit for the day. But I told her that my baby's a toddler, so she doesn't really rely on my milk at this point anymore, even though I am still feeding her. So she said that wasn't an issue, so she did end up giving me that medicine. I think it's just to make, I guess, so you don't drool and stuff when the endoscopy tube goes down your throat. So I put on my hospital gown. Actually like really struggled getting my hospital gown on. I posted about that a little bit. I could not figure out how that thing worked. I think the issue was that it wasn't like a bariatric sized hospital gown. It was like a normal person sized hospital gown. So it didn't fit me properly. The back was completely open. I asked if I could keep my underwear on because initially they told me to take all of my clothes off, and I was like, that hospital gown is gonna completely show my butt, and they were gonna make me walk across the hall to go pee in a cup to make sure, I guess I wasn't pregnant or something. I don't know what they were testing for. So I asked to keep my underwear on, and they did say that I could keep my underwear on, so I did that. I kept my phone with me the whole time. I don't know if I was supposed to do that, but I like kind of tucked my phone into my side in the bed where they rolled me. So like I had my phone with me during the endoscopy procedure. So I'm glad I put it on silent. I didn't want to be away from my phone. Like in case I woke up in a dark room alone somewhere. I don't know. I just didn't want to be somewhere without my phone. That's just me. They probably would have told me not to do it if they had seen me have it, but it is what it is. So they rolled me back into the endoscopy room. There were maybe 2 nurses, an anesthesiologist, and my surgeon in there. I remember they were listening to a really terrible U2 song. I don't like U2, and I'm like, oh God, if I die, like not that a lot of people die from endoscopies, but I've never had one before. I didn't really know what to expect. So I was thinking if this is the last song I hear before I die, I'm gonna be really pissed. But they were really nice. The nurse, he had me open my mouth, and they put like this little mouth guard thing in my mouth. So my mouth was like held open. I don't know if you ever played that game where you like put that thing in your teeth and it like holds, so like you have to say stuff on a card. I don't remember what that's called. I'll insert a picture, but that's what it felt like. It was like that same type of concept. So my mouth was just open. They gave me, I had an IV. They put the IV in before I got rolled back into the place, but I could feel a different type of medicine going into the IV, and the anesthesiologist said it might burn a little bit. I remember her saying that, and like I did feel the medicine change, like something different going into my IV, and then I was out. Like that's, I was gone. That was the last thing I remember. And then the next thing I remember is waking up back in that room that I was initially in, and my husband was sitting there, and there was 2 nurses in there. And I was like signaling to my husband because I wanted him to take a picture of me, or at least like, I really wanted like video of me like waking up so I could like show you guys that it wasn't, you know, scary. I wasn't like super out of it or anything, but my husband like was not getting the point. Like I was like, come on, come on, come on. And he wasn't understanding. So like I said it out loud as I was coming out of the anesthesia. So I was a little bit loopy. And I remember the nurse saying like, yeah, we don't allow pictures or video. And I was like, I know, that's what I was trying to signal to him. So I don't know, it was embarrassing. I was a little loopy, not gonna lie, when I first came out. But within maybe 5 minutes, I was like mentally good, and then within like 10 minutes, I was like physically good to like put my clothes on, get downstairs, get in the car. So I'm on the way home, still feeling slightly loopy, but not bad. I feel like I just like woke up from an amazing nap. We're about to drop off my prescription. They got me a prescription for omazepro. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, so for like acid reflux. And they said did they say I have a hiatal hernia?
No.
The nurse, I feel like, said that. I don't know.
The nurse said that, the doctor didn't say that.
Yeah, the nurse said I had a hiatal hernia. I don't remember a lot of what the nurse said. I remember her mentioning a hiatal hernia, but my husband actually talked to the surgeon while I was still asleep, and he says that the surgeon didn't mention a hiatal hernia. So I'm still a little confused on if I have a hiatal hernia or not. They did put me on omeprazole. It's like Prilosec, just like acid reflux medicine. So I have to take 1 pill once a day for that. I guess they saw something that indicated that I had acid reflux. I don't know. I never talked to the surgeon, and I was super on drugs still when the nurse talked to me. And I haven't like met with anyone since that point. So the point that we're at now, it's been about 3.5 weeks, I think exactly 3.5 weeks since I had my endoscopy. I was just waiting. I hadn't heard from anybody, hadn't heard anything, except I did get a call from a man, and he said, It was probably 3 days. It was March 11th. 3 days after my endoscopy, I got a call and they said, your path is clear for surgery. That is a quote. He said, your path is clear for surgery. So I wasn't sure if that meant like my pathology came back, because they do take a biopsy when they do your endoscopy, like a little tiny sample of your stomach, and they do like a pathology report on it. So I don't know if he meant my pathology was clear for surgery, or if he meant like my path, like the hypothetical proverbial path is clear for surgery. I don't know. I didn't ask because I'm that type of person. So that was like the last thing I heard from them in 3 weeks. So yesterday I ended up calling them. I talked to someone and she sent me to someone else who I left a voicemail for, and then they called me back and it was that same guy, and he's like, your path is clear for surgery. I'm like, okay. Like, that's the same thing that you told me 3 weeks ago, so I'm gonna need some more information. I got something else. And he was like, oh, okay, so you should probably talk to the scheduler. I'm like, yeah, thanks, that would be nice. So probably a couple hours later, I got a call from the scheduler. She was very nice, and she was like, okay, we're ready to schedule your surgery. And I'm like, okay, so if I hadn't called, like, I wasn't gonna hear from you guys? So don't be like me. If it's been a week, 2 weeks, call your bariatric center and check up on them. And don't just like keep waiting, because would I have ever gotten a call from them? I don't know. If I hadn't called them myself, I don't know if I would have ever heard from them. They seem to be really confused where I was at in my surgical journey. But so the scheduler called me and basically said any Wednesday after April 21st was good. So I did some like quick reflection. I've been thinking about this for a while. I really want to stick it out the rest of the school year. I wanted to make it, because I mean, we've only been back in school for what, a month? I've only been with some of my new kids at just a few weeks. I didn't want to leave them. I didn't want to leave them a month after meeting some of them. I thought that would have been really hard on my team and my students and their parents. I didn't want to do it. So I scheduled my surgery for the first Wednesday when we are out of school, and that is June 2nd. So my surgery will be around 7:30 a.m. on June 2nd. I am feeling anxious. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling a lot of emotions. I don't think it's gonna like settle in. It's not gonna like fully hit me until we're a little closer, since we are 2 months out from that, which I just thought of something. I do need to call my insurance company, but I need to ask them what weight they're gonna use to qualify me for surgery. Because like I was thinking maybe like once they've qualified me or like approved me, that like that's the weight that they'll stick with. So like any weigh-ins after that won't really matter, because my biggest fear out of all of this, I mean, obviously surgery is scary, but one of my second biggest fears is that I do this surgery, they look at the weight I was on the day I had the surgery, they're like, oh, you were under 40 BMI on the day of surgery, we're not gonna cover this surgery, and I've got $20,000 in hospital bills to pay after I have the surgery. That would be a literal nightmare, because those hospital bills would not get paid with my $200 in my bank account right now. Not happening. So I am gonna call them today and get like a definite answer. Maybe even ask for it in writing, because I don't want that to happen. That would be a literal nightmare for me and my family. So I'm gonna call them today and get that all settled. But I mean, I am still at a good point with my weight right now. I'm probably about 12 or 13 pounds away from dipping under that 40 BMI. And I think I can maintain this weight, but I think I can maintain it over the next 2 months. But I was really, really wanting to hit 100 pounds lost before getting surgery. So I'm about 10 pounds away from that point. But getting to that point would kind of put me in like the danger zone of I could be a little under the BMI mark on the day of surgery. So I want to get that all cleared up. So that is my next step, and I will have to do a 2-week liver shrinking diet. It's not a liquid diet, it's just a low fat 1500 calories, which is, well, I'm not really doing low fat with like keto. It's more like moderate fat, high fat in some days. So I'll have to adjust that a little bit 2 weeks before surgery, but not really having to worry about that yet since it is 2 months away, which I'm like kind of sad about, but also happy that I have more time just in case I do end up changing my mind. At this point, I don't think I'm going to. I am pretty set on doing this. It's been such a long journey, and I think that I would really regret it if I didn't do it, more so than if I did do it, if that makes sense. I don't know. But that is my update. That is about all I have to say. I will also keep you all updated if anything changes. I don't think anything will change in the next 2 months, so we may not be talking about surgery related stuff for the next couple months until maybe my like liquid or my liver shrinking diet starts. And then if I do like a grocery haul, getting stuff ready for post-op. Ooh, that sounds so scary to say. Like, this has been such a long journey. I started this journey in June 16th or something like that was my first bariatric seminar. And it's like so crazy to think like this journey will almost be a year of thinking about this, preparing for this, and then it's just all finally gonna come to an end. Well, not an end, it's really a new beginning on June 2nd. I don't know. That's just, it's crazy to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me on this journey of weight loss. And I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.